We're coming up on what seems to be the climax of the current Spade Kingdom arc, and I can't help but feel like Black Clover might have a bit of a problem going forward. That isn't to say I think it's going to end anytime soon, but I do feel like the writing at least has been in a bit of a slump since the end of the Elf Reincarnation arc. In my opinion, a lot of the storyline up to that point has been exhausted. We learned about the history of the Clover Kingdom leading up to what has formed the current society within the country, and much of the Spade Kingdom stuff has largely answered the questions we have about the way the demons exist within the universe. So I feel like that largely wraps up a lot of the origins for Asta as well, as we now know of his mother and what led up to him possessing the grimoire with a demon trapped within it. And don't get me wrong, that has all been amazing stuff, but I can't help but be left with a really important question. Where's the series going to go from here? So I thought I'd take a little bit to go over what I want to see from the future of the series and potential plots going on from this point. Probably the storyline I'd like to see be pursued the most after the conclusion of the Spade arc is visiting Yami's homeland. He's up to this point been shown to be one of the most powerful mages within the entire kingdom, outside of possibly Vengeance and Julius. I don't know why, but for some reason I could see Yami dying in the final fight against the Triad. Now, hear me out. Along with how drained he must be from the tree being powered by his and Vengeance's magic, it's already been made pretty clear that the current Yami isn't as strong as the Zogratis siblings on his own. Along with that, we've already seen Yami gifting his katana to Asta to deal the near-fatal blow on Dante when he attempts to kidnap Yami, which to me seems like a clear indicator that Yami might die. Because up to this point it's been pretty conclusively shown that Asta is going to be his successor in some fashion or another, especially with him learning how to use the key. Yami is then pretty much instantly blitzed by a Xenon who had just taken down the Golden Dawn and Vengeance with the help of several minions. So while I wouldn't love to see it happen, I could very well believe that Yami might die in a kind of Sarutobi sacrifice, to buy a little more time for Asta to fully grow into his abilities. And during that, I could easily see Asta attempting to find his way to Yami's homeland to try and find out more about Yami's past and the culture surrounding it. And as strong as Yami is, mixing his abilities to read ki with his dark attribute magic, I could see there being others there that are as strong, if not stronger than Yami was himself, just because of how much prestige Yami was able to garner with his immense personal strength. Another possible storyline I'd like to see at some point is something akin to what happened in Seven Deadly Sins, where someone ends up getting pulled into the demon realms and a rescue mission has to be enacted to save the character. Honestly, I kind of hope it might be Asta, and that allows him to get more in touch with Lieb and that connection. I'm not as keen on that possible continuation of the series, but I do think it's one of the more plausible ways for the story to move forward. Up to this point, I think the stakes have been a bit too low in the series, and I feel like if we're going to see death of a major character, there is no more likely time in the story than as of now for that to happen. I still kinda wish that Julius had died, but I also feel like there are some ways to make that more satisfying further down the line, but that would be a topic for a different video at some other time. But that being said, I could definitely see Asta sacrificing his freedom to get who has become his biggest mentor figure out of the line of fire by freeing Yami in return. But there is one other storyline I'd like to see at some point. Up to this point, many of the conflicts have largely been major magic forces coming up against other magic forces. But I'd like to see the conflict between the peasantry and commoners versus the nobility and royalty to come to a head at some point. But not just that, to find that there is a figure in the background of the kingdom that has been slowly poisoning the well, so to speak, and causing further discord among them to the point that it finally boils over, because up to this point it has mostly been conflicts with external forces to the kingdom, but we haven't really experienced a huge fight from within despite the animosity that has been growing within the lower class citizens towards the upper classes. I'm not really sure how plausible that really is, but it is something that I think would be an interesting continuation of the story. or even barring that, a disillusionment of the status quo and how well the citizenry thinks the Magic Knights can uphold their vows to protect the kingdom. After seeing Julius fail to fight the demon, and having to rely on Asta to beat it, despite his lack of magical power. That magical power having been the deciding factor on who is considered worthy to interact with the upper echelons of society up to this point. And now having Asta as a potential unwitting bannerhead to rally to. Like I said, I'm not really sure how realistic I find that particular plotline happening, but it is something I think would fit well with the themes of xenophobia, classism, and other similar issues within the series discussed largely during the Elf Reincarnation arc. But honestly, I think I would be happy to see the series cover that or any other large number of possibilities in the future of the series that I didn't even consider while brainstorming for this video. I just hope the series does find a path forward and that it doesn't run out of steam but continue chugging along aimlessly, like I've seen so many other amazing series go the way of. What do you guys think? Where would you like to see the series go from here? Or do you maybe think defeating the demons in the Dark Triad should lead up to the end of the series? Let me know what you think down below. We're getting ever closer to 1,000 subs by the day, and I'd love if you all joined me on this journey. So hit that like button and subscribe if you're so inclined. And with that, have a great day, my dudes.